Donald Eugene Chambers was born in 1930 in Houston, Texas, a city that would later become the center of one of the most infamous outlaw motorcycle clubs in the world. Growing up in post-World War II America, a time marked by strict societal expectations and conformity, Chambers stood out. He had a rebellious nature from a young age, and it only grew stronger as he got older. By the 1960s, Chambers had completed his service in the U.S. Marine Corps. The military left a lasting impression on him. He returned tougher, more disciplined, and deeply attached to the sense of brotherhood found among soldiers. Civilian life, by contrast, felt dull and empty. He missed the adrenaline, the camaraderie, and the sense of purpose. Around this time, outlaw motorcycle clubs were spreading across the U.S. The Hells Angels ruled the West Coast, the Outlaws controlled much of the Midwest, and groups like the Pagans and Mongols were emerging on the East Coast. But Texas remained largely unclaimed. Chambers saw an opportunity. He had been involved with local motorcycle clubs but found them uninspiring. They lacked the bold, defiant energy he craved. He wanted something bigger, something rooted in Texas culture, with strong values of loyalty, toughness, and an outlaw spirit. Inspired by Mexican revolutionary like Pancho Villa, Chambers envisioned a club that embodied the rugged independence of the Southwest. In 1966, in San Leon, Texas, he made that vision a reality. The Bandidos Motorcycle Club was born. Its red and gold colors were chosen for their boldness. The logo featured a cartoon Mexican bandit holding a pistol and a machete, a symbol of defiance and danger. Chambers didn't want a casual riding group. He wanted an organized, powerful club. Early members included former military men, ex-convicts and drifters, men who had no place in ordinary society. Many were Vietnam veterans struggling with trauma. Others were criminals looking for a new brotherhood. What they all shared was a desire for something raw and real. Chambers ran the Bandidos like a military unit. Members had to prove their loyalty and strength to earn respect and the right to wear the club's patch. The motto, "We are the people our parents warned us about," wasn't just a slogan, it was a declaration. The Bandidos quickly gained a reputation for living hard. They partied, fought, and financed their activities through illegal means: drug trafficking, underground gambling, and weapons smuggling. Violence was common, both internally and with outsiders. Disloyalty or weakness was met with brutal consequences. By the 1970s, the Bandidos had solidified their control over Texas and began expanding into neighboring states like Louisiana, Oklahoma, and Mississippi. Their criminal enterprises grew, drawing the attention of law enforcement and rival clubs, including the Hells Angels and the Outlaws. In 1972, Chambers made a fatal mistake. Believing two drug dealers were stealing from the club, he and several others lured them to a motel in El Paso and murdered them. Their bodies were dumped in the desert. The killings attracted FBI attention. In 1974, Chambers was arrested, convicted, and sentenced to life in prison. Even with Chambers behind bars, the Bandidos didn't collapse. They expanded internationally, opening chapters in Australia, Europe, and beyond. Chambers died in prison in 1999, but his creation had become a global outlaw brand. The rise of Jeffrey Fatboy Pike. Jeffrey Fatboy Pike, a Texas native, became one of the most influential Bandidos leaders. By the late 1990s, Pike had proven himself as a capable, ruthless leader. In 2006, he became the national president and immediately began consolidating power. Under Pike, the club deepened ties with Mexican drug cartels, especially the Gulf Cartel, securing steady supplies of methamphetamine and cocaine. Pike ruled through fear. Suspected disloyal members were not just expelled, they sometimes disappeared, later found dead. Violent rivalries and international wars. the Bandidos faced increasing tensions with rival clubs. In Europe, they clashed with the Hells Angels in a bloody series of conflicts known as the Nordic Biker War, 1994 to 1997. Shootouts, bombings, and assassinations shook cities in Finland, Sweden, Denmark, and Norway. Civilians were caught in the crossfire. In March 1997, the conflict peaked when a group of Hells Angels opened fire on Bandidos members at Copenhagen Airport, killing their national president. A truce was reached later that year, but violence continued underground. In Australia, a similar war erupted. On September 2, 1984, the Milpera massacre occurred during a biker swap meet in New South Wales. A conflict between the Bandidos and Comancheros, sparked by a split in leadership, led to a shootout that killed 7 people, including a 14-year-old girl. The incident led to nationwide crackdowns on biker gangs.
Violence in the U.S. One of the most high-profile biker conflicts in American history took place on May 17, 2015, in Waco, Texas. A meeting between clubs turned violent, resulting in 9 deaths and nearly 200 arrests. The incident, involving the Bandidos and a rising rival club called the Cossacks, led to intense law enforcement scrutiny. Another major clash happened in Denver in 2016 during the Colorado Motorcycle Expo. A fight between Bandidos and Mongols escalated to gunfire inside the crowded venue, leaving 1 Mongols member dead and several injured. Global expansion and ongoing conflict. The Bandidos expanded across Europe, particularly in Germany, Denmark, Sweden, and Finland. In Germany, the arrival of the Bandidos challenged the Hells Angels' dominance. Between 2009 and 2012, Germany experienced a wave of biker violence, with shootouts, bombings, and assassinations becoming common. The German government responded with raids and even banned some club chapters. The 1% patch the Bandidos proudly identify as a 1% club. The term originated after a 1947 riot in Hollister, California, when the American Motorcyclist Association claimed that 99% of motorcyclists were law-abiding. Outlaw bikers adopted the 1% as a badge of honor. Wearing the 1% patch means full loyalty to the club, above the law, above family. Members must earn their place through commitment, often through violence or illegal acts. The club is structured like a military organization with strict hierarchy and clear rules. Prospects must prove themselves, and hang-arounds are outsiders hoping to earn membership. Despite constant police pressure, internal violence, and global crackdowns, the Bandidos have continued to grow. Today, they remain a dominant force in the world of outlaw motorcycle clubs, with active chapters in North and South America, Europe, and Australia. The Bandidos represent more than just rebellion. For their members, it's about power, loyalty, and a commitment to a lifestyle that refuses to conform, no matter the cost.